Hello everybody, welcome to our weekly energy update here from TransCODES for the week September 28th till October 5th. This time, before we go into the review of next week and look at what's coming in these next days, again here it's not exactly a week, I want to do something like a summary. It could be a little longer this time. So for those of you who are impatient and want to know everything right now, here are the things I want to talk about. And first I'm going to reflect on some of the really deep emotionality, maybe depression, the feeling of stuckness, and where all this is coming from, and what the involvement of our ego is, and then I'm going to talk about the heart mind, the structure of our mind, and why you know, like some of the things that that we experience as energetically sensitives and empaths are a little different from what other people or how other people perceive them, and why times like this. I sent out an etheric pulsing alert yesterday. I'm going to explain that too, about why this seemingly hits us so hard. Okay, we're going to talk about some of these pendulums that we experience with our emotions going up and down, and why that is the case, and what can help us to get through. So surrender is a key word here, not so much just as a spiritual idea, but in the practical. And I'm going to talk about what all that entails, you know, how it entails accepting that we are an energetic being, and that we are not our thoughts, that we're not our emotions. And then last but not least, I want to talk about a third option. You know, third option is something that a lot of people can't see when they're stuck. They see either or, black or white, you know, hooray, or I want to kill myself, basically. And there's always the third way, and this is the one that I want to talk about and focus on. So those of you who have no patience and are not interested in what this energy tip for this week entails, you can turn off now. All right, so as always, I start the energy updates here with a little bit of a review. And, you know, I want to ask you something. A lot of you guys watch this video on YouTube, so you can't really respond to me right now. But what is sort of the most intense thing that you've experienced in last week? Could you give me a little bit of feedback? I mean, I'm working here at TransCODES with energetically sensitives and empaths from all over the world. And last week I had the privilege to actually do a workshop here with Jeff. And we had you guys here come to Evergreen, Colorado and work with us in person. And of course, those are wonderful feedbacks for us as well. But have you guys been experiencing this like really deep sense of grounding and almost like reality hits the fan kind of feeling? Who else had that? Yes, and zoning out. Yes, same here. Zoning out, having a really hard time sometimes to stay focused. Sleepiness. I can't even tell you how many people told me that they've been really tired, exhausted, almost exhausted, but not really like because they've done so much. But there's a part of them that is incredibly busy right now. And, you know, a lot of times people perceive their energetic sensitivity and the depth and the intensity of these sensations as a hindrance. And you know, this is really why I do these energy updates for you guys here publicly, because after all, this is my job. You know, I work this all day long. So as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go back to energy coaching and energy sessions here today. You know, yeah, so a lot of us feel this like really strong feeling of like, oh, well, what am I doing this for? You know, I'm like, I just want to, you know, be left alone. This is all too much. I can't take it anymore. You know, yes, very tired. And since we're speaking here amongst us, I want to let you know that this is something you need to get used to. All right, you need to get used to the fact that you are not just a functional link in society, or a mother, or whatever your job title is, or a physical body that needs to perform, or an emotional generator. You are more than that. Okay, you're an energetic being, and you consist of your physical, obviously, and your emotional and your mental, and some of your spiritual aspects, but also of your energetic aspects. And this is what this sort of global awakening is about, that we are beginning to understand that there's way more to us. And when we go through times that are extremely intense and we can't really get a grip on this, we can't really pinpoint what it really is that makes us so tired, that's when you have to begin to understand that you are way more than just the things that happen to you. Yes, and there's also, of course, the collective stuff that has an effect on our energies, and this is really now what you are learning to deal with. You are learning to adapt to whatever the situation requires from you, wherever, your energy is busy, whatever your energy needs to do. And the truth of the matter is, even though this is maybe hard for our minds to understand, is that our energy knows really well what to do. If we can get ourselves / our egos out of the way, our energy will guide us exactly where we need to be and what we need to do. And so these things like the looming disaster, things like that, David, that you mentioned here, which we all feel. We've been feeling this all along. All right, and it's really wearing us down, and it's getting to the point where we literally can't process it anymore because it's beyond our minds to understand. That's when we have to learn to surrender, to trust in our inner guidance. And the reason why this becomes so exhausting and so incredibly intense within, and like a fight within us, is because our egos try to control the whole thing. But our egos are not very good measuring tools. They're also not very good tools to deal with energetic sensitivity, not to speak of collective stuff, that, is sort of overlaid with all our belief systems and I don't know, astrology, aliens, whatnot, conspiracy theories, what all this could mean. This frantic search for meaning and purpose is all part of our ego. And what we are experiencing as this really tiring and depressing and sometimes on the verge of us not really wanting to be here anymore is our ego, guys. Our ego is kicking and screaming right now. And that's because, and I hate to say it in that way, but that's because there is no way back. There is no way back to the days of unconsciousness, the days of just, not understanding anything, just, doing our coping mechanisms here and there, having our little addictions, having our little dependencies, blaming it all onto others, making the world responsible for all the evil or darkness that we're experiencing. This is not true. This is not real. And what is happening right now with all your energetic senses really awakening, they've always been there. It's not that you're developing them. You're just beginning to understand that this is a major power. All right? You just haven't learned how to deal with this yet. But when this happens, the ego resists. Because the ego likes familiarity. It likes things the way they are, no matter how dysfunctional they are, no matter how unhappy you were, back in the days when you had no clue about energetic sensitivity or what all that means. You weren't happy. Okay, so now we're searching for fulfillment here, not for gratification. That's ego. Ego wants instant gratification. Ego wants saturation. But you can't satisfy your ego. As soon as you get a little bit, you want more. And so when I talk about surrender, acceptance, and patience, I'm not talking about disciplining your ego, and cooking up and just sitting there waiting in your, in your intensity to have somebody give you the go. No, I'm talking about, all right, taking a deep breath, going within, centering, feeling who you truly are, what your true heart's desire is, letting go of this tension, and center within yourself, not identifying with any of the thoughts and emotions that you have coming up that originate in your ego, and letting go of this idiotic search for meaning and purpose. I don't mean to be degrading. I don't want to diminish our pain. I'm feeling this too, and trust me, there's many times where in my weakness, in my sort of desperation, I wish I wouldn't know any of this. But when you get to this point of truth, and you begin to see through the deception that is going on, not just outside of you. Yeah, there's a lot of deception going on outside of you. But guess what creates the biggest deception and distortion? It's your ego. Your ego is directly influencing how you are experiencing your reality. And you can't trust it shit. That's what you need to accept. You cannot change the world. And if we're going through earth changes that create disasters in certain areas of this world, and that create changes, then so be it. There's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is work on becoming better and adapting to things. And that's what evolution means. Evolution means to be in connection with what is going on within you and outside of you, and to go into this constant feedback with it. How does this feel to me? What does this mean to me? Not this is a sign that the world's going to go under. No, not in that way. In the way, what does this mean to me? Does this maybe mean that I have to change something in my life? Maybe it means that I need to move to a different place. Maybe it means that I have to change my job. Maybe it means that I have to let go of all these identifications that my ego has. These personas, these false selves that I've built with myself. And then to go into correction. And to say, okay, I see this now. I see how most of my perception was distorted by my ego and these identifications that I had. And this is what we're experiencing right now, guys. Besides the energetic sensations that come with this, so this etheric buzzing, tingling, pulsing, and so forth that you are feeling right now is really just something that signals to you, hey, your energy body is working. There's a lot of stuff that's going on, and it's processing a lot of things. And you need to find out what the best thing is for you to deal with this. Okay, some of us have to lay down and rest. Some of us have to exercise more. Some of us have to change our diet. Some of us have to change our partners. And some of us really just need to go into this place of acceptance and say, okay, there'll be times where I feel very energetic. There'll be times where I feel, supported, by these collective energies, and I'll have like tons of energy. And then there'll be times where collective energies will make me feel very heavy, very dense. And I need to find out what I can do to allow myself to deal with this better instead of going into resistance and trying to fight it. There is no way to fight this, guys, and it's not a bad thing. All right? It's about you going into this place of full acceptance of who you truly are, and that entails your energetic being. And you don't have to understand it at all. You don't have to figure it out at all. You don't need to educate yourself in like philosophical or metaphysical concepts. Those help. And those of us who have a strong mind, which is a lot of us here, you know, for us it helps, you know, to familiarize us with some of these concepts, because it allows our minds, you know, at least to get a little bit of a heads up on, like, what this could mean. But the whole fixation on causation, that there has to be a cause for things, is a sign that you're latched onto your ego. It's our ego who wants a cause, who wants a scapegoat, who wants to blame something. But in reality, things are just going their natural way. And the fact that there's, like, you know, like, what, 20% of us awakening to our energy bodies right now is a wonderful development. It doesn't mean that this is going to change our world overnight, but it means that there is a huge evolutionary leap going on right now, which means that we are all beginning to understand that the things that we have been relying on, our brains, you know, and our emotions, that those are just tiny parts of who we truly are. Just to give you a few numbers here, and I've said this before, if you compare sort of the receptive tissue in your physical body, the neurological makeup of your brain to the neurological makeup of your heart, you know, this is the structure of the heart mind, then you'll understand that you'll see, or, you know, learn from me or from other people. There's many cool teachers out there that and institutions that teach, you know, the newest research about the heart mind. Then you will find out that the bandwidth and the processing speed of your brain is nothing compared to the bandwidth and the processing speed of the neurological tissue in your heart and the electromagnetic field in your heart. So there is no way your brain, you know, your ego mind, could ever understand what your heart is perceiving. And the reason why I'm talking about our heart and the neurological or the perceptive aspect of our heart is because this is what we're awakening to. This is what our energetic sensitivity is. This is what it means. You are awakening to your heart. And your heart's perceptivity is thousands of times more accurate and higher in resolution than your ego mind's, your brain's neurological tissue could ever be. And so the connection here between this ego fight that we all have and this awakening energetic awareness is that we are still relying on our mind. We're still relying on our five senses that report to our mind that this is, you know, what is happening around us, while we're having all these other sensations and perceptions that our mind cannot interpret. So the connection here between our heart and our mind and the ego is that the first sensation, the first signal that arrives at, you know, here our entire system is in our heart field, in our energetic body. And for the most part, we have not been trained or ever told that this is the case, so we ignore this. Then, of course, we have a certain reaction within us that comes through, like, say, physical sensations. And these reactions, these emotions, then inform our brain about what is going on. But the energetic reality of things is that there's a lot more going on. And what has not really been trained or developed in us is that translator piece, the part in us that can mediate, that can translate between this energetic sensitivity that we have and the signal processing in our brain. And this is what we train here at TransCODES. This is what we are allowing you to work with here, because there aren't many people really that can help you with building a vocabulary for that. And why is that? Because it's a subjective experience. It is not an objective thing, and this is why science has such a hard time with it. They can measure that the bandwidth of signals and the processing that we have through our heart field is much faster than our brain processing. But what they can't help us with is how to translate this, how to translate energetic information, energetic signals, holographic, non-local information into our brain so that our brain can actually work with it. And those of us who are awakening to our energetic sensitivity, this is what we're dealing with, guys. And when I talk about building this lexicon of inner sensations, what I'm really talking about is training this translator in us, this transcoder. This is where the word transcodes comes from. We need to learn how to transcode non-local and holographic information into information that our brain and our neurological system can process so that it makes sense to us. All right, but at the same time, we also need to let go of our ego mind's dominance over what we're experiencing, believing that everything it sees or perceives is reality. No, it's just a tiny little part of reality. And that's why we approach this whole question of perception and reality by dividing our perception really in 5 different layers. We have a physical sensation, we have an emotional signal or an emotion, then we have a mental processing of that, a thought, like what this means, and combined with our memory bank and so forth, or what we've read about things, what this could mean, interpretations, conclusions, sorting that information. And then we have our spiritual part that tries to give this a meaning, a purpose, depending on our beliefs. And then we have yet another level, and that is the energetic sensitivity, the energetic sensation that we have, that can sometimes mean something completely different. And this is the fight that we are fighting right now within us, a useless fight. A fight that we cannot win. And if we, feel this really strong resistance in us, and it tires us and it exhausts us, right? Then that's a good sign. That means that you're starting to be ready to let go of your ego's dominance. Because quite frankly, whatever is going on right now is not the way it looks like. We have to trust in that higher perception. We have to trust in our energetic sensitivity to guide us through these corrective, through these chaotic times. And the gateway within us is our heart. This isn't even spiritual blah blah talk. This is hands-on, guys. This is very practical. The only way to learn how to discern your feelings from your emotions, from your sensations, from your precognitions, from your projections, is through your heart. And this is a very subjective process, which means that there is no such thing as a handbook. Okay, when you feel this, it means this. When this happens, it means this. No, this is your ego. Your ego wants it that way. But this is also why your ego is such a failing measuring tool for things, because it wants to give form to something that you can't give form to. You have to learn to trust in that higher perception of yours. And the way you do this is through connecting within, because there is a transcoder in all of you. There is this translator, and this translator is typically called consciousness. Your consciousness is what can observe your thoughts, your emotions, your sensations. But guess what? Your emotions cannot observe your thoughts. Your emotions are merely reactions to your thoughts, and your thoughts are merely reactions to your emotions and physical sensations. So if this hasn't confused you by now, just let all that go and say, all right, I accept that I cannot control this. I accept that this is beyond my physical ego, mind, brain. And learn how to connect with your heart, and this way learn how to speak the language of your consciousness. This lexicon is like learning a new language, okay? Learning the vocabulary of your consciousness is a whole different way of perceiving reality and communicating with others and expressing yourself. And this is what you're being hit with right now. This is why this is so hard. And in the midst of all our desperation and pain and fear and anger, and our ego's desperate and futile attempts to control the whole thing, there is a piece of you that if you allow yourself to connect with that will say, hey, it's all right. Everything is perfect the way it is. And the pain that you are perceiving right now is the pain of having to let go of all your illusions, of having to get past the deceptions of your ego. That's our pain right now, guys. And if you can feel this within yourself, that this sort of reality is hitting the ground right now, it feels like a grounding rod going through you. And it feels like this etheric buzzing, you know, like being hit by lightning. And unfortunately, it's not like, you know, and you're enlightened. You are about to find out what enlightenment truly means. It means to become real. And it means to have a choice. With tuning into your heart and your consciousness, you will have a choice. You will have the choice if you want to believe in your illusions or if you want to get past it. The choice is still yours. You're not being forced to do this choice, but you're being forced right now to see reality as it is. And as soon as you can let go of this search for a purpose or a scapegoat or a cause, all right, as soon as you can surrender to your higher self, to your higher perception, then your pain goes away. Your fear goes away. And that need to control. Will we all bounce back? Do we all bounce back? From time to time? Absolutely, all the time. All right, we will experience the whole range of sensations, emotions, and feelings all the time. And that's what we need to accept. We just need to accept that our radius, our resolution has increased, and we will go, you know, from low to high from time to time. But we will learn to let go of our ego's fixation on bliss. I want to feel bliss all the time. I want to be, you know, I want my ego to feel good. I want it now. I want it the way I want it. I want gratification. I want satisfaction. That's what we need to let go of. All right. So here for this week, maybe in a couple of years, you will remember this week. This is what this grounding pain is that we're experiencing, and some of these energetic sensations on the way, the sleepiness, the tiredness, the density, the pulsing, the tingling, the neck pains, the temple pains, the knee pains, you know, all the things that those are all things that people have been reporting this week. They're just like tiny little sensations on the way. You got to see through that. Yes, you got to let this wave go through you. Yes, reality is surfacing, and it's different from how we think it is. All right, so if you just let go of this ego notion that you could control reality and begin to become real and trust in your heart's guidance, then you'll laugh about this now. You'll laugh about what's happening right now. Because you will see that there is a third option. And the third option, you know, this way in between. What's in between the good and the bad, the light and the dark, you know, the all or nothing, the black and white. Because when we're in ego, and this is actually a really good sign for you, when you're caught in your ego, all you can see is all or nothing. What you need to learn here is that there is a third way. Discipline your mind, discipline your emotions to find the way in between. What am I not seeing right now? What is the third option? And as one of my old teachers always said, Jona, it's all backward. So the way I've tricked my ego through going, you know, through these times is by looking at the backward solution. What is the least thing that I would like to do, or that I can see right now? What is the one option that seems so completely backwards that it's probably the more real option? So that's how I've tricked my ego. You know, I've just reversed everything, and I said, you know, this may feel counterintuitive, but I'm just going to discipline my mind by doing the complete opposite of what my ego tells me to do. That doesn't always work, but it works in these really deep times like right now. So whenever you get into this place of hopelessness and helplessness, remind yourself that there is a third way, there is a third option, even though you cannot see it right now. And what can you do? And this leads me to the energy tip for this week. What can you do to get to this place so you can see this third way? First of all, calm down. First of all, let go of this electricity, of this identification with all these thoughts and fears and anger, emotions, and then this latching on to that control, you know, trying to control it all. Calm down, center, and allow the grounding, and seek the grounding, you know, no matter what it takes. You know, maybe you have to go out and take a walk. Maybe you have to take a bath or a shower, or you have to take your shoes off and ground yourself in, you know, in a piece of grass or lean against a tree. This is subjective again, so you got to find out what it is that you can do to ground your energy best. And we teach this here at TransCODES. We teach you several energy work modalities that you know, so that you can increase that vocabulary with yourself, so that you can better determine what works for you at a certain or at a given time. And once you've calmed down, you know, take a really deep breath and focus on breathing into your heart, as opposed to breathing into your emotions or breathing into your head, breathing into your thoughts. And I've demonstrated this a few times. What I call the I am breathing is a very cool energy work technique where you learn how to pull excess mental energies and excess emotional energies into your heart and release them. There will be a video attached to this here that shows you this technique. It's very simple. You can do this anywhere. And as soon, you know, as you get into this more centered place and you know how to release energies, you know how to send them out the nearest exit, you don't need to be afraid of intensities anymore, because you become confident enough to breathe through anything. You just need to allow that release. And with that release, also the release of your attachments. All right, the very thing that your ego wants so badly to attach on. Yeah, but I wanted it this way. Oh, but you know, my signals, all my cards, or my angel guide, or you know, my guru told me it's going to be this way. Well, just let go of that. It's not going to be that way. It's going to be different. And if you expect that everything is going to be different and, you know, like I said earlier, backwards or opposite from how you're expecting it, then you're right on track. Because then you're actually open. And then you can actually see through all the deception, whether it's your own ego's deception, or, you know, the deception that's coming in through the collective, or the people that you're with. This week, guys, especially for relationships, is extremely grounding. And once you are willing to accept the deception of your own ego, then you will begin to see the manipulation and the deception that is going on right around you. And you will also see And this is then what leads sort of to this humbleness then that comes over you. You will also see how much you have contributed to that, how much you have enabled that, and what your part in it is. The codependencies that you have, the things that you make yourself depend on, the things, that you've projected onto others. You will realize all these places and times and relationships where you have externalized your power to others, or government, or institutions, or you name it. You will realize that your ego's sort of kicking and screaming comes from a place of entitlement. Yeah, but I wanted it to be this way. Yeah, but I trusted you so much. I wanted you to solve this for me. Can you hear this in my voice? Do you know how many complaints I received last week because my energy report, my written report, came out only yesterday? This entitlement, guys, this is ego kicking and screaming. Who cares if I do a written energy report or not? I do this for a living, guys. If you want to know everything firsthand, then work with me. If you don't have the money to work with me, that's fine too. Then come here to Facebook and be part of this life energy update, and you have it right there, right then. And if you want to go a step further, because most of the stuff that I do, I actually do this openly. There's no secrets. You go to my forum community and read everything that I write every day. Or the other fantastic trans coaches that we have here at TransCODES. Who says you're entitled to getting an energy report, a day after I recorded it? You can either be part of it, or you let go of it. I'm doing this for free. Just saying. This is a humbleness, guys, that is needed. And this humbleness, those of you who get angry now, understand that this is your ego kicking and screaming. But I'm not judging you for it. I'm just saying this is what you need to look at, because this is the distortion that you're facing. So every time you feel your mind go into like, oh, this is this guy's fault and our president's fault and whatnot, cut it off, ditch it. This is not going to get you anywhere. All right? This is about you taking responsibility for your own energy, for you actually arriving in your life and becoming the sovereign of your life. Nobody is responsible for how you feel or what you do. Yes. And I'm not sacrificing myself. I don't have to do this. I'm doing this voluntarily. All right? So I don't want you to feel bad about this. It's just the entitlement that comes with that. That's what we need to watch. And this entitlement, you may feel this in your relationship as well. Yeah, but I want you to tell me what to do. I want you to solve this for me. No. Not your doctor, not your guru, not your president, not your partner, not your bank account. They're not going to resolve anything for you. It's your responsibility to go in there and feel what is most true and most real for you. And this is why your energetic sensitivity is coming to you. It's a gift. It's a gift, guys. To double check on your congruence. And the path that we are on right now, and this correction that is going on within ourselves and in our societies, on the planet altogether, in our collective altogether, is correction. Correcting all the things that are not real. Letting them go and learning that there is nothing in this world that can replace my own power. There's also nothing more powerful than your own inner higher power, and this also includes healing. Healing of physical, healing of emotional, healing of mental and spiritual, and sometimes etheric attachments that we have. There's nothing more powerful than your own ability to heal yourself. And coincidentally, it's the very same thing that helps us to heal our attachment to our egos, that also helps us to heal our bodies and our emotions and our mental blah blah. So my practical tip for this week is every single time you feel a thought coming in, and maybe you can locate where thoughts come in for you, take it, grab it, throw it to the ground. This energy work, guys. Go in there, take it. Nope, 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 I'm not falling for you. And the same with your emotions, usually in your belly. Grab it, throw it out. Say, nope, nope, I'm not going to fall for you. Nope, nope. And if you have to do this 50 times a day, who cares? You're training your energy system to not latch on, to let go of the identification with your thoughts and your emotions and your false selves and your personas and your judgments and whatnot. Every time you feel this judgment come on, take it, grab it, no. Yes, and as you begin to feel that your voice, that your true voice becomes stronger, you'll also notice that some of these attachments go away. They'll always be there, guys. We'll always have an ego, and there's no problem with that. We always have a mind. We always have emotions. It's all part of us. Wonderful parts. But hey, you don't want them to drive the bus. You want your consciousness, you want your higher self, or not like sort of some spiritual higher self, but you want that sort of true self in you. You want that part to drive the bus. Not anyone else, not your ego, not your emotions, not your thoughts. Seeing, your ego's struggle as the problem and not, what is going on outside of you. The way your reality is displaying itself is distorted by your ego attachments going on within yourself. So if you can just really accept that the way reality displays itself to you is distorted by your ego, then you're talking. Then you're actually beginning to become real. And all you really got to do is to admit to yourself, you know what? I don't have a fix right now. I don't have a solution. There's nothing I can do to heal the world. There's nothing I can do to heal my relationship. I simply don't know, because I'm too much caught in my pain and my fear and my need to control in my anger. All right, so you just let go and say, all right, as long as I'm in anger and fear, control, pain, I cannot find a solution. You just accept that. And this is what this week is teaching us. And the other thing is that there are wonderful opportunities out there once you can let go of your ego's attachments, but you can't see them. So if you just have to take my word for this right now, open your eyes, let your ego kick and scream, connect within. Maybe book an energy coaching session. Sometimes, just one session is enough to just get a little bit of a roadmap, as to what you need to look out for or what you need to work on. But let go of your attachments, and then you will see the great opportunities that lie ahead of us. Yes, impatience is a very big corrosion. And whenever you feel impatience, take a deep breath, center, and let go. And say, oh, there was my impatience again. Take it, throw it out. That's it. All right, I hope this wasn't too long for those of you whose ego is still very impatient. If you have any questions, you can ask anything. If you want to know, there's of course a lot more to all this. And yes, I have a lot of background noises today. Please don't complain about this. I can't control it. All right. All right, would you advise to take all the negative energy and lies, for instance, and push them through the ground? This is a really good question. I would say, and this is something I'm going to display, one of those charts that I have. I would say don't get fixated on the ground. Try to find the nearest exit. In energy work, that's more efficient. You know, if you have something going on here in your head, you know, don't try to push it all the way down to the ground. You know, like either grab it right away and throw it out, or work with the expansion of your mental field. You know, it's not really your mental field, but work with this. And like I've explained it with the I am breathing, you know, elongate this. Elongate it and pull it out. You know, pull it out. Just pull it out. You know, go through your hair, pull it out. If it's in your mind. Yes. I thank you guys for paying attention and for coming here and being patient, and for sending me all this wonderful energy of gratitude. All right, this is what drives me. So nobody needs to feel like they owe me anything. This is not why I said the thing about entitlement earlier. It's about something different. It's about how we stand in our own way. Cool. Thank you guys. I truly enjoy being with you here, and yes, there will be a written report, or there won't. I don't know. The last 2 weeks were extremely busy here, and I'm hoping that I will be able to serve you with this, but maybe not. So just come to the forum or check the blog on transcodes.com, because there's always articles that I post that have to do with our current energies. All right. Thank you, everybody. Till next week. Bye-bye.